Cool. André, how's things?
Very good.
Excellent. So we've got a very, well, we say it every podcast episode. We've got a very special episode, very special guests, plural this time.
I mean, that's what makes it exciting as well this time. We've got two lovely guests.
That's it. We've got Vince Witten.
Hello.
And Skye.
Hi.
From Crawley LGBTQIA+.
Indeed.
Fantastic. Guys, tell us a bit, just introduce yourselves, tell us a bit about yourselves just to start with, so that we can get rolling.
Oh, me first. Okay. So I'm Vince. I'm company manager of Crawley LGBT. I also head up the events for the team as well. What else did you need to know?
Well, no, that's a good start. That's a good start. Great. And Skye, yourself?
So I am Skye, as previously said. So I am the community engagement officer for Crawley LGBT. So my role basically is just engaging with community groups and seeing what we can do.
Fantastic. So if anyone hasn't guessed yet, this is a Pride episode, right? So the fact is, Happy Pride. So we've got Horsham Pride coming up.
Yeah.
The day after we're recording this, so the pressure's on to get a little bit of the content out quickly. So we'll be up till midnight. We'll say that now, just in case I don't, so people go, "Oh, do you know what? He tried. He did his best. It's all right. We forgive him."
No.
And then, of course, Crawley Pride is next month, August the 16th.
August 16th.
Goffs Park.
Yeah.
Still tickets available, I assume?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, good. Excellent. So, hey guys, look, just talk us through. Tell us a little bit about the history of the Pride in terms of how you've been involved with it, and just stuff that I guess is really good for people to know, because I certainly have been learning loads about the history behind even the Pride events to start with, which is just, that's not publicised enough, is the way that I feel personally.
Indeed.
But it should be great to just hear it from you guys living and breathing it in terms of what's great about the history that's led up to it so far, or anything that would be really useful for us to know.
Okay, gosh. Well, locally for the company, so Crawley LGBT kind of got its name from Crawley Borough Council putting a post out. This was, 7-8 years ago, for community groups to come together, or anyone that wants to come together to put on their very first Pride event. Little did we know that actually what they were doing was putting together people to take that machine on. And I say it's a machine because it's a full thing. I walked in with a now co-director of Crawley LGBT. We both are involved with theatre school in Crawley, we just walked in thinking we were going to get the kids to perform at the first Pride of Crawley, but no, I walked out as secretary and Stu walked out as the treasury. So
brilliant. Did you have special stashes made for that?
So that was probably nearly 8 years ago now. And the chair of this newly formed community group, very new, unfortunately, she had to step down. So I stepped up to the chair at that point. Then COVID hit, so actually we weren't able to put Crawley Pride on anyway. We had a great team, a great set of volunteers, and I said to them, look, what can we do? We're not going to do Crawley Pride this year, and probably not next year. So what can we do? We need to, reach out online, see if there's any support people need, obviously LGBT people. And actually what we found was there was a lot of people screaming for help in Crawley specifically that needed the support, COVID or not COVID, that actually needed that support. So that is what we did. We kind of shifted a little bit and we set up some social groups online, and it just went on from there. And then as soon as we could, then we set up the first Crawley Pride. It was during that time actually that we set up as a CIC, so a community interest company, and that changed us. That changed our directory a lot, because that meant that we were able to get funding.
Sure.
So then the first one, Crawley Pride, happened. It was insane. It was so good. And I think there was such a buzz about it. And actually there wasn't that much hate in our first year.
Yeah.
And then the second one and the third one and the fourth, and then this year is our fifth one. So that is a very brief description of how we came about. I'm sure there was a lot more that will come out during this conversation.
For 5 years, so 5-year anniversary this year.
Of the Pride event.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been going 7-8 years now.
Sure.
Crawley Pride is our flagship event of the year, but there's so much more that we do, and that is what I don't think people realise. So yeah, it's our 5th one this year of our Pride event, but 7-8 years going.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So, and Skye, how's your involvement been then? So Vince has given us a bit of a rundown of how he got his sash. But
so I started about 3 years ago now.
Sure.
So yeah, I just I started transitioning and I needed a community. I found the Sussex Trans Social Group online, and through that met some of the other Crawley Pride team. Eventually a spot came up to be a co-director as well, and I applied. I got it, and here I am. So
the competition was fierce,
it was quite an experience, but it's something I'm so happy to be involved in.
What's the best part of it for you, do you think?
Obviously me.
Yes, obviously you.
It's the best part of this whole day, Vince, yes. But yes.
It's just the sense of community that you get from being part of the Pride team, which is amazing. You know, I have a second family now
great.
In them, and whenever I need support, I know I can turn to them.
So it must be a lonely place otherwise, right?
I mean, yeah, it can be. I mean, when you're just trying to do it on your own, you know, I can't talk for the other letters in the acronym, but especially when it comes to transitioning, like there's a lot of information online. There's also a lot of hate online.
Of course.
There's a lot of a lot of the people within the community online. It can be quite a negative place. So yeah, finding your way through on your own can be a little bit daunting. So yeah, there's definitely the need for the support.
I mean, the need for that support is really clear. But what has been quite eye-opening as well is that, you know, last year was the first time that there was a Horsham Pride. It was the inaugural event, right?
Yeah.
So, and at that time, I was thinking, do you know what? Actually, what is there out in Horsham for, you know, that community? And I wasn't sure. I had a role where I kind of needed to know for other parts of work that I was doing, and it was just a bit like, that seems like an odd vacuous gap that's missing. And from people that I asked around, I also couldn't really get much. It was very much, there's a Crawley thing, but that's it. So now we're at the second year of Horsham Pride. So what's that looking like? And is there anything else that's coming through support-wise or structure-wise that you guys might be involved with?
Yeah, I mean, so we were asked by Horsham Council last year to support them with their booking, basically, of the acts, which is what we did. And they came to us for training very loosely around terminology. So that is what we provided, and it was, you know, that was great. And we had a presence there as well last year. This year, again, they've asked us to be involved in booking of the acts because I guess we have a bit more to do with LGBT acts, and so we've helped again this year. I mean, what is it? Look, I don't know. It's not a ticketed event. I'm sure it's going to be amazing. So far, the audiences on a Friday night have been bigger than I think they were last year.
Oh yes,
I think the Horsham
I've got the
Pride...
bruises to prove that. 100%, and the scratches on my camera lenses, everything.
Oh, I bet. I mean, we're making it out to be a wild event. It's a community event. But yeah, last year I think the Pride event for Horsham was one of the busiest.
Is
that right?
Last year was just, it had the real bustle, just a good, like, happy vibe, and just everything so vibrant.
And everyone was so supportive last year as well. Yeah. I mean, that is the same for Crawley Pride, but Crawley Pride is very different. It's a fenced-in area. Yeah. So far, the event is fenced in, ticketed, whereas Horsham Pride is not ticketed and it's not fenced. So, yeah, I was surprised by the support and just the atmosphere that it was there last year. Leading on from that, the Horsham, and we're going to announce this tomorrow, so this is an exclusive. I say that, it is on social, so maybe not that exclusive. We have been asked by Horsham Council to kind of set up a Crawley LGBT in Horsham, so a Horsham LGBT. And we very politely declined that because it has taken us this long to get to where we are for Crawley LGBT. But what we have said is that we will evolve the company and, you know, service both towns, which we're really excited about. And in September, there is a public consultation which people can get involved with. So anyone in Horsham specifically that wants to come down and, you know, have a say of what LGBT services there should be, what events there should be, what support is needed, what social groups are needed. That's happening in September. And you do need a ticket. It's free, but you do need a ticket just so we know who's coming. But so if anyone's interested, come to that. And actually from that group of people that come to that, we will then ask them to be either directors of the Horsham group or part of the steering committee of the Horsham group and you know, just volunteers as well, which are vital for anything.
Of course.
That's very exciting. So that project for us of evolving Crawley LGBT into Horsham will start in January. So we've got all of this prep work to do beforehand. So from September to January, we've got to make lots of shifts and changes.
Plenty of time. Plenty of time.
Yeah. I'm not going to sleep. That's what's happening.
So Skye will sleep for you.
Yeah.
Sleep twice as hard.
Yeah.
I'll try my best.
I can't begin to imagine how hard it must be to set up something like that from scratch. And I think it's so important for people to feel that support. I think like what you're saying, Skye, I think it's so hard because I'm assuming you go online to find that support and sometimes you find the complete opposite, don't you? Because you kind of need to find that, but because you're then exposing is the wrong term, but you putting yourself out there, then you opening yourself for whatever stuff people have to say, which is, you know, is just horrible. So to find the strength to actually build something like that from scratch, especially in Crawley, it must have been a bit of a challenge.
What do you mean, especially in Crawley?
Sorry, wrong term. Especially in Crawley. Especially in Crawley. I used to live in Crawley. I love Crawley. I love Crawley.
I'm allowed to say that then,
I lived there for 3 years. No offense to Crawley.
I never know what to leave in or what to cut out. Like, this will just be a roulette thing. I'll just spin a wheel and see.
Get a lot of Crawley hate, especially from Crawley. What was your question? Was it hard? Was it hard to set up Crawley LGBT? In all honesty, no, it wasn't. I think there was just a natural organic energy that came from the community, that they all came together. Yeah, we were kind of the drivers of it because there needed to be names on paper, but it was very much steered by the community. And I think because of that support came together, it wasn't that difficult. It was a challenge. I tell you what, it has been a challenge in recent years because of the online hate that we get on a daily basis. If I was told at the start that I personally would be under attack and that I personally would be talking to the police about my own safety, that I probably would have thought twice. But, you know, we're on the other side of that now. We are still getting a lot of online hate, but it's worth it. It's worth it. Just the other day, I had someone that I was talking to. We now have a venue in Crawley called The Pod, and we host drop-in days on a Monday and a Tuesday, and I had a conversation the other day that was so heartbreaking that actually having that online hate, you know, it's nothing compared to what these people have been through, and the ones that need that actual true support is nothing compared to that. So yeah, there is a bit of, you know, I guess there's a bit of sweet journey to it, but actually it's worth it.
I mean, as awful as that must be, it sounds like it's had the effect of just strengthening your resolve.
Oh, 100%.
So,
and these people that comment on Facebook or comment on Instagram or, you know, all the other local groups that they're at, Spotted Horsham, Spotted Crawley, then actually the people that comment on that are only working their own algorithms to see more LGBT content. So it seems a bit baffling. One, why waste all your energy in responding to something you have no interest in? And two, you're only just benefiting yourself, really.
I never thought of it in that way.
Yeah,
That is such good karma, isn't
I'm
it?
now also a bit confused. Are you guys saying that you want more hate?
No, we don't. We definitely don't.
I was going to say, I can help you out, but just my own accounts are already a bit fraught as they are. So
Most of it's trolls. There are a few local people that are constant on those social media hate crimes, which we will call it that. But actually, most of it is trolls from not even Crawley people. So it's quite easy to cipher through those.
Yeah. It is a fascinating little U-turn.
There's always a positive spin.
Well, hey, for all the unintended consequences, that's not a bad one, right? Oh, yeah, we'll take that.
Yeah.
So I must say, so Sam obviously was involved with you guys last year, in terms of getting pictures and documenting the event, and I must say it just looked incredible, and I can't begin to imagine the amount of work that went behind the scenes to make something like that happen. You talked about it being a fenced event. Is there a reason why it's a fenced event, and why we're not having a fenced event here in Horsham? Is that controversial? Is that something?
The Horsham's Pride evening is Horsham's Pride evening. It's not really, other than some of the acts that they've got at the moment. It's not really anything to do with it. We don't get involved in the organisational side for Horsham, and that mechanism works for Horsham clearly because it's super popular, and everyone is loving it. I mean. Yeah, there was a reason why we had to have fenced site, and that came from Crawley Pride Council, that came from the police, that came from the emergency department, and they said it would be safer. So, we haven't explored an option as of yet, which, may be changing in the future. But as of yet, that's the mechanism that we're going to go by just to keep everybody safe. Yeah. There have been a couple of protests that actually haven't come to light. And if they got to site and it wasn't a fenced in space, it would be problematic. Yeah.
Because you did a parade anyway.
We do the parade,
the mall down to Goffs Park, right? Is that the same this year?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
So from recollection, there was quite well marshalled. You had sort of roving security going with you and things like that, which you was great in the sense that it was not obtrusive. Like you didn't notice them if you didn't need to, kind of thing. So that's still that's quite public, which is great. Like that, as it should be, right? That's the whole point of doing the parade. I thought.
Absolutely. Yeah. So our first year, we half of the site was free to enter. So it was still fenced in, but it was free to enter. And then the second year we changed it, so actually the whole space became one, because in our first year, a lot of the storeholders were not getting the trade or the community engagement that they wanted, because everyone was in the paid area, which is where the stage was. So we did change that. But yes, the parade, is a public route. And we do have some objections. I mean, every year we have the same people that do object, but it outweighs. The amount of people that turn up for our parade definitely outweighs the objection that we get and see. Prestige Security are amazing. They keep us all safe. And like you said, they are in places that you don't necessarily see. And actually that's great for us.
I mean, to be fair, from the pictures you've taken and everything I've seen online, it didn't look like it was something that was fenced in. And the reason why I bring that up is because I feel like obviously we see the events online and we get this idea of like, oh my god, this is an amazing event, which it is. But I think people still don't really realize how much restrictive it is, as in like that you need to think of all these things to put in place, because it's still not a safe environment for people to celebrate, and I think it's such an important thing to mention, because still today that's still something that we need to fight every day for that to be celebrated, so that we can have a space where people can come and celebrate their identity and who they are, and not be judged or at risk. That fact that you guys are at risk is just awful to think about.
I mean, people definitely think that the event is, we've got that fenced area because of tickets that we couldn't care about. I mean, we obviously do care about tickets and the income, but the reason why we've got that fenced area is to keep everyone safe. It's not for that ticket sale. I mean, that is just a bonus. We are a fully funded, self-funded event, so the ticket sales definitely help. But this year is the cheapest that we've ever done.
We try and make the tickets as cheap as we possibly can, so that people can afford to come along. We just need enough to cover the costs, not to make money. That's not what it's there for at all. So
we do know, not that I'm going to mention any names, but we do know of other prides that are local events that
are a money-making business.
Are money-making businesses. And that is not what Pride is about. Pride is about education, celebration. Let's start with that. I mean, it started as a protest. So that is what it should be front and foremost. But yes, the other prides that are, more of a money-making business. Yeah, I mean, we have our opinions about that, but we are definitely not that. We're all about the community. We're all about the education and celebration, basically.
Yeah, fantastic. And one of the things, I guess, leading on from, as you say, the education part of it, right? So what you mentioned the whole situation of Pride evolving from protests. Can you tell us a bit about that? Like, I'm not expecting you guys to be historians here, but just for I imagine, and maybe I'm imagining wrongly, but I imagine lots of people just don't have a clue. They don't actually understand where it comes from, or have not because they don't want to. It's just something that isn't publicized necessarily. Like, people see Pride and they see Pride, but they don't necessarily appreciate what's gone behind it.
But do you know why that is?
Or the years behind it.
Do you know why people don't know about that? Because of Stonewall. People don't know about it because of Section 28. So I was finishing my schooling just at the end of that Section 28.
This is something that Margaret Thatcher put in place, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So it wasn't spoken about. So we can't, as a community, we can't be mad at people who aren't in the community that don't know about it because it wasn't spoken about. And that is fact. But I'll leave it to Skye to kind of dive into it a little bit. But that's why people don't know about it.
Yeah. So as Vince said, Pride did start as a protest. It started with the Stonewall riots at the Stonewall Inn in New York City.
Yeah.
I can't remember what year, so we'll leave it at that. But yeah, basically the LGBT community was being treated so badly that they eventually rose up in arms against it, and it was led by a trans woman, Martha Johnson, and from there it sort of spread, and other places started holding these protests, and then eventually, as it all started to relax a bit, they became celebrations. Then Section 28 came in, which, again, a bit like Vince, affected me at school. I didn't get to learn anything about the LGBT
because that's the key about Section 28 for people who don't know. It is the whole, you're not allowed to even teach or... I can't remember exactly the legal wording behind it, but it was, that government bodies and schools were not allowed to publicise or promote homosexuality in any form. And I believe it all rose from the start of a book. And the book was about two men who had a child. Eric and Martin... Somebody lives with Eric and Martin, and that caused outrage, and then that's where it came from. Section 28 got put in place, and we went and saw an amazing stage play called After the Act, which was about Section 28. They'd taken people who have lived and experienced that, but their stories, and retold it in the form of a musical. And
an abstract. It was abstract musical though. It wasn't musical theatre that you would go, oh yeah.
I'm less enthused now, but
it was so creative.
It was so good. But just hearing some of these people's real life stories about they had one, and it was a PE teacher, and she was a lesbian, and she got the job at the school, but she hid away who she was, didn't tell them that she had a wife. She made up this whole other life to be like for the colleagues at work. And then, she went out with her girlfriend one night and to a club, and one of the students was there. And she was terrified that the student was going to say something and she was going to get fired. And then when she got back to school in one of her classes, the student came up to her and said, like, I need your help. I think I might be gay. And she just dismissed them. She just said, I don't know what you're talking about. Go away, leave me alone.
Jesus.
And she had to do that to protect herself.
Yeah, of course.
But
yeah.
I mean, it's sad that she had to do that to protect herself, but it's also sad for that student that then needed that support and that help, that guidance, and to know that what they were feeling and what they were thinking was okay and acceptable.
That's why there's an identity crisis going on with so many people in the LGBT community, obviously specifically. It's hard hitting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just can't believe how it must feel to like grow up thinking that and just not having that support and just being made feel like an alien in your community, in your society, where you don't even have anyone to turn to.
No, I mean...
And you can't even talk about it or learn about it because of that section.
So we, as all kids at school do, go through their sexual health classes, and you're taught with a banana and a condom, and you're taught male, female, and myself included, sit there and go, I don't know what they're talking about. This... I am not interested in female anatomy. I don't know what you're talking about. So people get lost in the system.
Just like, I thought bananas grow on trees. What the hell?
What's going on?
God, yeah. I mean, there's that. That's how exhausting it must be for so many people in their lives. Just that that woman, the example of that woman, that teacher. All the way up until that point where she had to, deny help to somebody, just living that existence of just exhaustion. It must. That's what it feels like, a weight on me just listening to that. Like, oh my God, every day you are scared to death of being outed, found out. But what else are you going to do? That's who you are.
Yeah.
Pretend as much as you like. It's not going to.
And there's nowhere to turn to.
No. Yeah.
I mean, for that teacher, she wouldn't have been able to go to her colleagues to ask for help.
No.
She would have had to go home to her wife and say, this child basically came out and I can't do anything about it.
And we all just have to keep looking at ourselves in the mirror. That's it.
Yeah. That was Section 28. And that's
well, luckily that's been repealed now. So,
absolutely, we're on the other side of it now.
So obviously, that's been, as you said, lifted now. So schools are allowed to teach about and educate people and their pupils about sexuality.
Allowed to support their students.
That's the thing. And this, again, just goes to show how far removed everything is. When you don't live in that world, you have no conception of how what it actually is like. To say. So obviously what I'm hearing is there's still a lot of work that needs to be done in terms of education.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Massive.
Yeah. I mean, I use the word support because it's not taught as a class, and I don't know, is it right to teach it as a class? I think
it's individual, isn't it? I think it's down to the school.
Yeah, sure.
Is my understanding.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of not being backed by the government still with schools, that to be able to sort of put that out there. It seems like we're going backwards a little bit at the moment. So I mean, especially with like trans and non-binary people, and children in particular, they're not even allowed to, a lot of schools won't even support them by using their preferred pronouns or names.
So what do they do instead? Just insist.
Just
But
ignore
just
it.
ignore it, I guess.
Call them by the name that's on the
Yeah.
register.
Call them by the name that's on the register.
And therefore their pronouns that should supposedly fit that construct. And
and it's sad. I mean, and that's because it's government guidance. It's not government rules.
Yeah, it's not like
because
a curriculum. Right? This is the thing,
it's not that the government is saying you can't do it, but because they're not saying you should support it. A lot of schools are deciding not to support it.
I think there's an element of, I mean, I've worked in schools, mainstream schools, and I think there's an element of fear by the school body, because they don't want the argument with their parents and their families, because they will be in the firing line, and also there are lots of schools out there that are religion based, if that's the right term. So I mean, I'm not hating on any religion, but those schools are probably less likely to have that inclusion.
It's tricky. I mean, it's tricky because you can see from multiple different angles why it's really hard, from every perspective. Actually, what. Because some it's impossible to do one thing that will fit everything right for everybody at any given moment, at any given scenario, in any given situation, and hence there isn't like a strict rule or criteria or curriculum around it. Because how can you do that? Because actually everyone's still learning about how these things are impacting people, even the people themselves. So that's it's kind of. Fascinating isn't the right word, but I'm kind of interested, I guess, to see how that evolves over the next few years. Because, like you say, some things feel like they're going a little bit backwards, whereas at the same time, there is clearly a greater appreciation, understanding, awareness, which is, I guess, a big part of what you guys do as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So what? Coming on to the stuff that you were talking about in the consultation you guys are doing for Horsham, right?
Yeah.
So you're saying that you're going to be asking people to come and give their views or their requests about what sort of support they might want to see. So what does that look like? I mean, what have you kind of put into place aside from the Pride events? Because you mentioned at the beginning there's so much more to it, the pods, etc. So what kind of things does that look like, and how is that?
Well, if we were literally to mirror what we do in Crawley, which is kind of what I'm expecting, the only thing with Horsham is a completely different demographic of people, different group of people in Horsham. So at the moment, we in Crawley run a trans social group. We are involved in supporting some refugees that are LGBT who obviously have come to this country because it's just awful at home where they are. So we're supporting them. There's event-based stuff that we do as well. So we're possibly going to be putting on, and I say possibly because it's not an exclusive yet, possibly putting on a queer prom for people like myself and Skye that went to prom in a kind of different identity. I think there's a lot that can be done in different towns. Does Horsham need more youth-led based queer spaces, safe spaces? I don't know. That's what the consultation is about. Does it need more of an older generation safe space? I don't know. We don't know until that consultation happens, but we're open to suggestion.
And I think it's such a good thing that that's actually finally happening.
Yeah. Horsham has got some LGBT safe spaces already. I know All Sorts, who is an incredible company. They do some amazing work in Horsham. A big part of our job is signposting. Yeah. So at the moment, we don't really have a lot to do with the younger people in Crawley. So we do signpost them to All Sorts, and that will be the same in Horsham, I would assume. So it's about bringing in other service, not just us. We're not here to guard, be a gateway for other services, but we want other services to collaborate with us in Horsham. So
what kind of things do All Sorts do? What is that?
So they're youth led.
Okay.
They'll hold different youth social groups, I suppose.
I see. Okay.
They also help support the parents and the carers of those children. So it's not just support for that one individual, it goes wider.
Quite holistic. Okay.
Yeah,
good. Okay, great. Fantastic.
I mean, I'm just so taken back by everything you guys have been saying today. It's just sorry, it's just such a reality check that it's just one of those things that unless, like I was saying earlier, unless you're part of it, you just don't see it. And I guess part of what you do is actually educate people to finally get an idea of what is actually going on. And how can we improve that? And how can we actually educate more people to be aware of that?
I think a lot of people are like that, though, aren't they? I mean, I don't know what goes on in a Muslim community, and I would probably be shocked to find out some of that. So I don't think people should be hard on themselves if they start feeling a bit guilty that they don't know. I think if you are actively going out of your way to research and dive into a community, then props to you. But you're not going to know unless you're in it. But that's the same for us.
Yeah, and I think a prime example of that is the Asylum Seekers and Refugees group that we've recently started, supporting. Is that I suppose we didn't really know anything about. Or I didn't know anything about that world before, and what they've been through and what they have to do when they're here, and yeah, so meeting with them people every week has been such an eye-opener for the stuff that they go through.
What's the biggest thing you think you learned from that, or what's the biggest?
I mean, I think just some of their stories and the things that they've had to endure in their countries, like, yeah, because it's illegal, they run for fear of being arrested. They get beaten, they get tortured, they get, and even when they leave that country, like, their family that stay in that country still receive that hate on their behalf, which is just mind-blowing. Like, it doesn't, they've then got safe, but they've left behind the people they love to still continue to receive that.
Yeah, like you say, it's madness. It puts some things into some interesting perspectives.
Yeah. I mean, the UK have got a long way to go in terms of being inclusive of the community, specifically LGBT community. But those countries, man, they are hard. Yeah.
So I guess one thing I'm quite interested in really is, so with all the things we're talking about the the struggles or some of the triumphs for the community, what's kind of been your own personal journeys? Like, what if you were sort of looking back to yourself going through some of maybe the tougher times that you had, assuming there were some, what kind of things would you be saying to your younger self, or what kind of things would you be? So I'm just trying to think of people who might be in a similar situation, or similarly looking for support or not knowing where to turn, where to go. What kind of experiences are you willing to share, of course, but that were quite impactful for you?
You okay?
Yeah. I'm not really sure. I mean, for me and my journey, I suppose I didn't realise for a long time. I don't know if that was a large part because of Section 28 that we mentioned before, or whether that was, not having the materials, not having the role models to sort of see and be like, oh yeah, that's how I feel, sort of thing. I always knew I was different.
In what way did you rationalize that difference? What did you feel it was?
I just guess, I don't know, I just put it down to being different, that I was never going to fit in with the boys, and I was never going to, I was always going to get along better with the girls, and my interests and hobbies would always be different. So yeah, I just sort of put it down to that, and then as time's gone on and information has become more accessible, with the internet having blown up how it is, and just the visibility of the LGBT community, I start to see people and be like, that makes sense now.
Yeah, okay, sure.
So
pieces suddenly start to fit, and okay, this thing that I thought initially that I rationalised in a certain way, actually, do you know what? No, this is more.
Yeah.
This helps me understand and fits into my ethos a bit better. Is that kind of what you're describing?
Yeah. So, I mean, I always remember when I was younger that I used to sneak into my mum's or my sister's room whenever nobody was around, and I would put on their clothes, and just that to me felt right. It felt amazing, and just seeing myself in the mirror was euphoric. But there was still something in my mind that told me, you've got to keep this secret. Nobody can know about this.
I mean, was it not? I mean, wouldn't it have been more than just in your mind? I mean, surely, I'm guessing that even then you were thinking, hey man, if someone got caught doing this, they'd be in some trouble. Like, that's just a thing that happens.
Yeah, I guess. Fear of getting in trouble, fear of being mocked and ridiculed, and it's not the normal, of course, to speak. Because. But
like I say, it felt amazing though. Like to you, it's like like a veil's been lifted. Yeah, suddenly.
No other description really, other than it felt right. It felt like that's how I was meant to be. So I mean, I'd like to say, looking back on my younger self, I would say, identify that and go with it. But I also think that a lot of the experiences that I gained through life that led me to where I was when I came out, I think if I had done it younger, being the climate that we lived in as well, that I wouldn't have been strong enough to do that. I think having learnt the life lessons that I did got me where I needed to be.
Fantastic. I mean, I say fantastic in a literal sense, because it's amazing to hear the strength that you drew from that actually enabled you to then go through and say, look, I'm coming out properly now, and the transition journey is where I want to go. Great. Good. I mean, I'm sure that some of the stuff was not great, but
I mean, it was terrifying to come out to people. Not an experience I'd want to live again, but I've obviously now it doesn't bother me at all. And I quite revel in the fact that there are people that have not seen me for an awfully long time before I transitioned, and people that you've just met, like acquaintances. And at the beginning, I would make sure that I would tell everybody before I went out. I'd be like, oh, just to let you know, like, I've started transitioning, blah, blah, blah. And, and now I just, see people and I'm like, oh, hi. And they look at me like, who are you? and then it's that light bulb moment that I particularly like, when they're looking at you and it goes ping and the light in their eyes just comes on and they're like, oh my God.
That's incredible. I love that. And I love that for all the right reasons. Not I absolutely love that. Because it just shows everyone that's like, you've been through that tough phase, obviously coming out and stuff, but now you on the other side where it's like, well, no, I've done it, and it's like, no, this is how it is, and that's how it should be, and I should not have to worry about this. And then because you already so worried about everything that you then are worried about other people's reaction, and I feel like you spend half of your life, if not more, worrying about that reaction, that then actually to get to a point where it's like, no, I'm not going to preempt anyone because I shouldn't have to. Why should I have to? Why should I have to do that? And I just find that so fascinating. That's incredible.
And to any of the trans or non-binary community that listen to this podcast, I would say find your community. If you haven't already, find your community. We're there. We're all waiting for you with open arms to support you in whatever way we can.
What a message that is.
So
No, Skye, thank you for sharing that.
We should applaud that.
Yeah, we should. Peak the microphones. Yes, good. Yes.
Sound test is gone.
I did it quietly.
No, I did. Yeah, there we go. Vince, how about yourself?
Oh gosh, I mean, I had it really easy. I really did. Like, I say I had it easy. There was a lot of turmoil, obviously, in my brain, but I was quite naive as a child, and maybe that is, again linked to Section 28. But I didn't know. I just didn't know. But I wasn't.
What did you think? Again,
I didn't.
Ask you that question.
I wasn't interested in men, or obviously boys at that time, or girls, and I was just more interested of having friendships. Like I had girl friends and I had boy friends. But
Gotcha. Yeah.
at that age, I mean, I was quite late, I guess, coming out. Obviously, there are older generations that come out even later. But I mean, I think I was 17 when I finally went, oh, hang on. I think I might be. Well, I came out as bisexual first, which is, ridiculous now I'm thinking about it. But at the time, so I went to Thomas Bennett Community College and I did my GCSEs there. I was bullied so much, but even the bullies I was confused about, because they would call me gay, they would call me queer, they would call me fag, all of these horrible terms. Half of them I had no idea what they were talking about. So actually it went over my head. So in a way, my naivety was my shield. And I don't think the kids these days have that because they know about it.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I think they probably have it harder. When I was through GCSE age, no idea.
So what did you do? Just like smile back and wave?
Great. What do you want?
Smile wave, boys.
I don't know. But there was a little bit of me going, okay, well, so many people keep calling me that, so maybe I am that. So, but I never took it upon myself to go and research. I mean, the internet wasn't I sound really old. The internet wasn't it was only when I went to
Morse code everything up.
I only went to I went to Ifield Community College to do sixth form, and I did performing arts. I mean, everyone else around me knew, right? So maybe because I was so I don't know.
So you less came out and more pushed out, right?
I was.
maybe because you were doing performing arts.
I had good
The shoe fits. Yeah, there it
is. A dear friend of mine, actually, Rachel, love her heart. She, again, even to this point, I had no idea what she was talking about, but she said, maybe you should just speak to your mum and say, literally, she said, say these words and say, Mum, I'm bisexual. I can't even remember what I said, or Mum, I'm gay. And then the journey from that point started for me. I was doing performing arts from a young age. But luckily for me, that was the career that I always wanted to go down. And I was extremely lucky that is the career that I had. So maybe there was a part of me that didn't have to worry because, it was stigmatized that, a lot of performers like air hostess or... what's the air hostess? Male version of air hostess.
Air host?
Air host?
Steward.
Steward?
Yeah.
Air steward?
I actually don't know.
Cabin crew.
Oh God! Yes,
I mean, a lot of industries are kind of stigmatized, aren't they, for having more LGBT people in their world, and performing arts is one of them. So maybe that is maybe that is it. I would love to say to you, as a child or as a young person, I had a bad time. I was bullied, but like I said, my naivety was my shield. I didn't really understand. I would actually say, as an adult, I've had a harder time, and that is through me learning about my community, diving into the history of my community, and having to come out all the time. That was the hardest thing. Yeah. I went to an amazing college, a dance college, to get my professional degree. And I had to come out all the time. And that I was in a world full of LGBT people. Yeah. And even, we were doing projects about LGBT and I would have to come out. I think, as an adult, coming out is harder for me than it was as a child or as a young person. And now being in the LGBT world and advocating for it and hearing all those stories, I find a bit of strength in that, a little bit like Skye. I find a bit of strength in having that community based around me. But I was so isolated as a child. Like, I had no idea. So when people were throwing those the terms at me, it would just kind of run off. So much so, actually, now I'm a dad, which is amazing.
Congratulations.
Thank you. My husband and I had our baby, nearly 4 months ago, which is crazy. But
Congratulations.
And
you were here. Like,
where's the kid? I left him alone. But I think there is some form of internalized homophobia, or maybe not internalized homophobia, maybe a bit of fear of having to explain my situation over and over and over again is probably the hardest thing, because I shouldn't have to walk around town and with my baby and they go, "Where's the mum?" Like, I then have to go, "Oh no, I've got a husband, he's got 2 dads," and then they go, "Huh?" That is hard. I think that's harder for me, like I said, than it was as a young person. Yeah, I don't know. What would my advice be as a young person? Don't research into it.
Well, there is someone who can help you though. So I did find this thing earlier online. Which sorry to ambush you, but it's a podcast that has to ambush. We will do something like a bit crazy, right? So this was written by someone called Vincent Wooten.
Who's he?
Who's that?
On on some kind of social media thing about a year ago.
Wow.
And I'll read it out to you, see what you think. So it said, in a scary time where world leaders are turning their backs and the clocks on the LGBTQIA plus people, it's important to come together in unity for inclusive representation. Pride gives people a voice to be heard and the power to be seen. It isn't just the party events people see in the media. Pride is about commemorating the history of LGBT plus people and celebrating our wonderfully diverse culture. As somebody who was bullied as a child and wrongly victimised in Crawley for simply being myself, I fully understand how important LGBT plus representation is in someone's hometown. I'm immensely proud to play a small part of Crawley's LGBTQIA plus history and will endeavour to advocate for a safer town and country for our community to live, work and play.
Yeah, sounds like a wise man.
Sounds like a wise man. Do you know what? Like, so this is something you posted very soon after Pride last year, right? And it's stuck in my head ever since then. Like it was burned into my mind when I saw it.
Okay.
So like quite selfishly, I'll say it. Like it just made me feel like a lot of shame. In lots of different respects. Like, so when we've talked about how different things have informed our perspective, you talked about how you've been working with, refugees and things that you've seen. I look at that and when I read it, I was just like, Jesus Christ, man. I get wound up and upset about freaking nothing. Freaking nothing.
I'm a bit silent because I wrote that. And I know exactly when I posted that, and I will go into it a little bit. But yeah, I haven't read it. I haven't heard those words read back to me, and it's hit me a little bit.
Yeah. It smacked me in the face, mate, when I read it. Like, absolutely smacked me in the face when I read it. Like, I was... I will be completely open with everyone. I teared up when I read it. Because it just made me feel like I say, that shame of, like, what the hell have I been doing? Like, just getting... wound up about
I don't think that's your fault. I don't think you should feel guilt about that. But it
gives a bigger context of like how we all see things, of how we all have our own perspectives, and we all live in our own little bubbles. Everyone's got blinkers on. Doesn't matter how broadly or widely you might think about stuff. Like, shit, man, I never went through anything like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I like to tell myself I went through some hard stuff. No. It just isn't. And what this shows is like the strength you saying earlier about, as a kid you're a bit naive to stuff. As an adult it's been harder, but the strength and resolve that you gain from this and feed into this, man, hats off to you.
Thanks.
Like,
appreciate
just
that.
I wish I could express that feeling better, but
it was a tough time. I mean, last year's Crawley Pride was great, but there was an event around it that I was involved in, and I won't go into details because it turned into a police matter, that caused a lot of hate online, and it got into the wrong hands, and it went national, and there was far-right extremists involved, and there was a lot of threats to that said event and to the company that was hosting that event and to myself. And those threats went further. Like, they came after me hard. So much so that, you know, I mean, I was at an event, a separate one, so I'm just talking about,
Sure.
With my dance school, and I had to evacuate my dance school because of the threats that were coming in. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know what I can and cannot say, but that was a post that came out shortly after that time, and it was probably the hardest time I've had as a gay man in Crawley, which is so alarming, really. I mean, I've lived in Crawley all of my life. Well, not anymore. I don't live in Crawley, but I lived in Crawley all of my life. I now work in Crawley, and I'm so proud of the work that we do as an organisation, and I'm so pleased that I can be part of that. But where was that when I was growing up? Where was that when I was going out having drinks on the high street? There was none of that support. So yeah, maybe that is what I would say to myself. Go and search for your community, like Skye said.
And here you are providing that community. We're providing the spine for it, you know? Like, and I don't mean spine as in spine versus spineless. I mean literally as in a hub, a hub that forms spokes that people can then, attach to when they need it. Because everyone, when you're talking about, sneaking into your mum and sister's room, all those emotions that are going in your head to try and actually rationalize that on your own must be horrendous. It's why, I mean, people who don't and are completely differently related, why do people have therapy? Because you can't just therapize yourself, right? You can't just do your own CBT in your own head, right?
No.
So you need that outside perspective to guide you and show you. Now I'm not really drawing a very good analogy here, but it's still like, how do you do these things on your own? And
But you don't.
This to me was like, God damn it, why? Yeah, like you're saying, where was the support when you were a kid? Yeah, why the hell not? And why do we not see this more and more?
And I think that the rationalising it doesn't have to come from a professional or a therapist.
Yes.
It can literally just be somebody else that you can talk to.
Just something to bounce off, right? That I
Who-
trust and has your best interest at heart,
Who is going to listen to what you've got to say, take it on board, and not judge you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's such an uphill battle, a constant uphill battle. And we do this on a daily basis where we see a problem or we see an issue and we just think, you know what, there's nothing I can do about it. There's nothing I can do. It's just the way it is. And I can't imagine that that's exactly how you felt. How can I even change anything? How can I? And you guys are literally being the pioneers of the whole thing.
That's really sweet. But it is those scenarios that you've just read out, that linked event, that if I'm going to be really honest, I was going to leave Crawley LGBT after that event and after the events that happened with the involvement in the police. I was going to stop. I was going to leave Crawley LGBT because I thought this isn't worth it. There's one thing coming after a community as a whole, but there's another thing coming after you and the people you love. That takes it for me too far. But it was through my community, my team, that I turned to and I said, I need help. This is not right. This is not okay. And if it wasn't for them, I probably wouldn't have continued. And I'm so glad I did, because actually it has given me that rainbow cape that I probably needed way back when, to put that on and go, actually, screw you. You don't even know who I am.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I would sort of challenge what you said just now about, you're saying, oh, well, I don't, what can I do? I'm just one person. But that's the problem. The problem is that everybody thinks that and they keep their voice to themselves. Whereas if everybody stood up and everybody gave that voice and everybody said something and stood up in unison as one, not just the LGBT community, but, you know, all the allies that we have, you know, everywhere, then it wouldn't be like this. You know, if every person that saw hate in any form, whether it be against the LGBT community or racism or anything, just called it out there and then as it was, then things would get a whole lot better. And yeah, I think unless people start banding together, it's never going to get any better.
Yeah. Madness.
And that's why it's so important to keep doing those events, keep doing the Crawley Pride, now join the Horsham Pride and pushing it forward. I think that's how we fight this, because you need more awareness, you need more people, you need everyone really to just be like, no, it's just a form of hate. It's just, that's exactly what it is. And I think you said it perfectly, where, you know, if we saw any kind of hate towards anybody, most people would be like, stop being racist.
Yeah.
Why are you being like this? Why can't we have that attitude towards everything else?
Yeah.
And I think that's why it's so important to just educate people and just keep putting those events out, because you know, it's quite hard to make it a daily thing where people are put in those positions. But if we can make it into 5-6 events a year where people are being made aware, where there's a big presence, and it's like, I think that's what's going to change things.
But it goes back to education, doesn't it? And I don't mean education as you need to put it in the curriculum. That's not what I'm saying. It goes to education in the sense that the more events we do, the more spaces we have, safe spaces we have, the more social groups we have, the more, you know, louder we can be on social media, the more people think we're pushing it in their face. That is not what we're doing. That's a conspiracy. Like, we're just trying to be...
We're not forcing anybody to come to them events and them groups. Like, you're more than welcome not to attend. If you don't want to attend, we probably encourage you not to attend.
If you do buy a ticket. Oh wait, wrong camera. Right, so guys, let's to the meat of this. Right, Crawley Pride. Let's talk about Crawley Pride. Let's talk about the events. Okay, so I last year was the first one I went to, but I, you know, as you have said, they've been off the hook before, and I've heard they've been some pretty special things. So tell us a bit about those. So how's it evolved? What kind of acts have you had? What kind of highlights have you had?
You know more about the history of the Pride.
Oh God, okay, right. So this year, maybe we should start this year in reverse.
Okay.
So this year, our headline act is Danny Beard, which is amazing. If you don't know who Danny Beard is, research it. Danny Beard is wicked. We've also got Queens, the touring show.
Okay.
Again, they are such a fab night. They might be someone that you can get involved with, by the way, in terms of like shooting. Because
in terms of that, sure, okay.
Yeah.
I was going like, all right. This might be the wrong podcast for that, but sure, yeah.
So I work on the lineup along with Skye, and we're quite keen to keep it as local as we possibly can.
Local, like an ex-Pussycat doll, for example.
Well, I mean, yeah. She turned up in Crawley. Is that local? I don't know. But so the daytime is our local. So we have lots of community acts that come involved. This year we've got Rock Choir, which is I can't wait for the Rock Choir. We've got a local Irish dance group coming in. So we're really keen in the daytime to have that. That's our community day. And then the evening, yes, we then start trying to go a little bit more mainstream with our acts. But we do have a few tribute acts this year. So we've got Shania tribute and Ariana tribute. You know, they're going to be great. They're going to be amazing. Last year we had Years and Years tribute, and that is who this year Horsham Pride have. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, interesting.
Did I miss that?
Years and Years tribute?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's the Years and Years tribute.
Yeah.
Plus the share experience for Horsham Pride.
For Horsham Pride this year.
Tomorrow.
Yes. Oh, yes. Tomorrow. Slash today, right? Because it's coming out.
Today. It's coming out today.
All its wibbly wobbly tiny stuff.
I can't say that we are, as a lineup, we're not a DJ set. I think there's a lot down in Brighton. They have their own. I've never been to Brighton Pride. Don't come for me. I've never been to Brighton Pride.
Is there a bit of pride there? You haven't gone to Brighton Pride?
I've not done Brighton Pride. No.
So my only experience of Brighton Pride was when I was in my GP training, and I was doing an A&E rotation, and it happened to be during Brighton Pride, and that's my only experience of it, and that was raucous enough. Just working in A&E during Brighton Pride. So I'm like, okay, this is what happens. Nice.
Crawley is not like that. Just sell all of these cameras.
Gonna tell you.
All of you guys.
Maybe come along and you'll find out. What other acts have we had over the years? I mean, yeah, we have a main stage, and that is our lineup every year.
The Lady Gaga tribute last year.
Lady Gaga tribute last year was amazing.
That was my favourite.
Was it your favourite?
Yeah.
Was it?
I feel like there were so many awesome acts last year, but Lady Gaga really stood out to me. I think just her just ferocious energy.
Yeah.
Doing it, and just like, I mean, so many tribute acts I've seen. I've seen more and more just through my photography work, but she always sticks out just for like, oh man, like no one lives Lady Gaga like she does on stage. Yeah. Or should I say, nobody lives their tribute act as much as she does.
And the photos that you captured, well, I have to tell you, props to you, because they were incredible. Those photos.
Thank you for saying.
Yeah, they were really good, really good. Who else have we had? Oh gosh, now I need to think. I mean, drag queens, let's go with that. So we've had Kitty's Got Claws, we've had Cheryl Hole,
Ella Day.
I mean, there's going to be loads that we've missed out because, we've done
Vicky
over the years.
Vivacious.
Who?
Vicky Vivacious.
Vicky Vivacious. Yeah, I mean, our acts are quite varied, but they are all LGBT themed in some way or another. The community acts, obviously, they can be themed LGBT, but they are all about the community. But our pride is more than just the acts, like,
of course.
We've got all of the community stalls that come along, and every year we are having to turn people away, like for our community stalls, and that to me just blows my mind because they all want to get involved.
How many times did we redo the site map this time to make more space for more stalls?
If we change it again, every time we change it, we should have a bottle of wine. That's what we
Deal.
should do.
I am going to find more stalls.
It's like someone's carrying you in the parade. Somebody's just supposed to be leading this.
How has it evolved over the years? Well, the first year it was there was two halves. There was the paid side and the free side. The free side was where all the food traders were in the stalls. Like I said, that didn't work. And every year we try to better the event. We try to better the site plan, better the experience for the Pride goer. And that just didn't work. And then the second year, we had just one big space and we've just changed the site plan around. I think that's probably the bigger evolution. That's
Didn't you make that a 2-day event as well?
Yes, the first year was a 2-day event. It was Saturday and Sunday.
So was the second year.
I can't remember. It all rolls into one now.
And then the third year I got involved, and that's when it went down to a 1-day event.
Fine.
Well, I know.
I mean, there was no real reason other than the foot flow just wasn't there for a 2-day event. Crawley's a big town, but it doesn't. I was saying this the other day actually in the office. Crawley's a big town, but since the pandemic, and this is probably a nationwide thing, not just Crawley, but since the pandemic, the events have kind of gone downhill, and I think that just took a hit. So we're a 1-day event and we're proud of it because they are great.
Downhill just in terms of footfall, you mean?
Yeah, and I just don't think people are waiting to spend their money. People are waiting to see what the weather's doing. Whereas before they would buy tickets a year in advance.
Yeah.
Whereas they're not doing that now because of cash flow. So I think the climate has had a huge impact overall. But I think that's probably how it's evolved. We haven't changed as an organisation. We haven't changed how we put it on. We haven't changed the format yet. But Who knows what will happen in the
You're going to
future?
keep dropping that little hint.
I know.
Yeah, so what's this? What format? Are we changing the format?
You're just teasing them because you're not going to tell them. I know you're not going to tell them.
I can sense it out. It's fine. I promise I won't put it in the
Well, I can't say it because we haven't
Don't
even spoken
worry,
about it as a
nobody's
team.
listening. Except all of the podcast listeners.
What else can I say about Crawley Pride? The parade. The parade for me, I think for Crawley is my favourite part. It's just amazing, and that has grown every year.
Yeah.
Last year was the busiest it's ever been, and that's great.
And this
it's
year
completely
we've
free.
got some social media influencers walking at the front, whose names escape me right now, which is really, really awkward. Grace and Kelly, that's it.
I was going to say, it would be ironic to not be able to tag them as social media influencers, but yeah, sure. There we are.
They came along. They just happened to be out in Tailgate one day, and we saw it on their live, and we messaged
I think
them,
we need
and they came along.
to plug Hayley here.
Okay.
Hayley fangirls over them a lot, and she
Okay, so
absolutely does.
here's the full story. Then.
Right,
So,
get comfortable, lads, get comfortable. All right.
Hayley does.
Hayley, brace yourself.
Hayley really likes these two girls. She follows them quite closely on socials, and I pick her up, and I'm driving to the pod in the morning, and all of a sudden, right in my ear, I get, "Oh my God, stop!" I'm like, "Whoa!" I'm full panic mode. Like, am I going to hit something? Like, what's going on here? And she goes, "I know them people. It's really hot. Both car windows are down. They can definitely hear her screaming, right?" And I'm like, "What?" And then, anyway, she's trying to explain who they are. I didn't follow them, so I had no idea who they were. Anyway, we get back to the pod, and we mentioned that they're in Tailgate, and Vince is like, "Find them."
That's quite stuff, really.
So yeah, Hayley messaged them and just said, like, "Seen that you're in Tailgate, like, we've got the pod, which is our new venue, like, LGBT safe space, do you want to pop along?" So they came along and saw us, and Julie,
Love Julie. Love her.
who could talk anybody into anything, managed
Guys, we're supposed to try and sell Crawley Pride here.
managed to convince them to be the head of the parade, which was quite impressive.
Yeah.
But they thought they were coming in to say hi, and they got completely roped into Crawley LGBT, and now they will never leave.
And they'll be walking with the Undateables, Dan, if you know who that is. They were at Crawley Pride last year, and I completely missed them. I didn't even know they were there. But yeah, this year, Dan is also going to be at the front.
I mean, you can just see the amount of effort that is poured into this. It's just incredible.
It takes a whole
year.
year.
This is not. Yeah.
And we're a relatively small team. Like, it's a full machine.
So for you guys, what was the biggest highlight of last year? So I mean, parade aside, from the actual event itself, what was the biggest wow moment? Whether it be an act or maybe something that went well that you didn't expect to go as well, or whatever.
Mine would be a bit geeky, actually. Mine would be on the organisation side of it. I think last year, I mean, we have done it a couple of years now, so it should get better every year in terms of organisation. But last year, it just seemed to run a lot smoother than it has probably previous. And, that's props to the team. And I was actually able to take 5 seconds to stop and take it in, because what we do is an impressive event. And, not every town has something like that. Yeah. So I was able to take stock, and I think that was the first time I've been able to probably stop. That for me was probably the proudest moment for last year.
Excellent. Hey.
Sick. Because you spend so much time organising it. Yeah. And then obviously during the event, you spend so much time running it that actually you should really take a moment to actually just take it all in and be able to appreciate what you've achieved. And
Catherine at the council, Crawley Borough Council, she gave me some really good advice in the first year, and she said, "Look at what you've done." I mean, as a team, not just me. Look at what you've done. Take a minute, take a breath, speak to people, and take a minute to really appreciate the effort that you've got into and the positivity that's come out of it. And I just I couldn't really take that in at the time because there was so much to do. First year, second year, third year, fourth year. But last year, fourth year, oh yeah, I was able to do exactly what she said. So props to her, because she gave me really some sound good advice that I should have taken on in year one.
Excellent. How about yourself, Skye? What do you think?
My highlight last year was I got to be the backstage manager. I took that off of Vince's plate as my job. He very gratefully handed it over.
I can draw some dots there, but what?
My highlight was being the backstage manager, and more specifically around that was just watching all of the acts interact with each other behind the scenes, because it wasn't just like you had one like that act in, they went on, then they quit and they're gone, and the next one comes in. Like, you had several acts behind there at once, and like just watching them interact with each other and like, I don't know, give each other like tips and like compliment each other, and you know, an act would come off the stage and the other act would be like, oh my god, that was amazing, like you did so well, and like just seeing that was just really nice.
Excellent. So just that lovely kind of friendly atmosphere, everyone just cheering each other on, and just there's like an amalgamation of something else that you guys have created, that sort of
that sense of community kind of it goes wider. What was your favourite bit other than Gaga?
That's tough. I think the both of the dance acts, so DMT and
DMT school.
Yes. Who were the other ones called? Something Dolls, was it?
The Dolls Company.
Dolls Company, yeah. Whoa. Like, just whoa. It was one of those where I'm like, God, I don't mean, we've said this in other podcasts as well, right? Sometimes there are just like acts or events or moments where I'm just like, oh yeah, I should probably actually take a photo of this. Oh, I've got a camera. Cool. I'll do it. It's like, press the shutter button. Just like, how the hell did you guys move like that? It was just so fierce. Like the raucous, like, I mean, the movement I said, but it was so like the finesse, coordination, everything. I'm like, it's just poetry.
Yeah.
Just absolute poetry watching that. Like, just a new appreciation for that kind of thing, and it really, for me personally, just kind of highlighted to me that, you know, the performing arts photography is such a wonderful space to be in, and when you just see people who are just at the top of their game or working towards that, amount of passion and effort that goes into it, and you just you could cut that with a knife. When DMT School were doing it, when Dolls Company were doing it. And
you know what other act stood out for me last year is Audio Active. So Audio Active had a couple of numbers, a couple of artists actually, I should say, throughout the day. Oh my gosh, they were amazing. So they are I don't know if they're a charity actually, but Audio Active are spearheaded by Rag and Bowman down on the coast. And they do some great work with music and original artists for young people. And they were amazing to work with last year. I don't know, that just woke me up a little bit as well, because they were so passionate about what they did. And they really came in as if they were professional performers. And they were a delight to work with, actually.
Which is just such high caliber of what you guys bring to the table as well. And the fact that they're attracted to that as well just shows you, is that another kind of like string to your bow to say, great street cred, you know, people just really wanted to come. I mean, actually, do you know what? How the hell do you get Kimberly White to come to Crawley Pride?
Kimberly was beautiful as well. Like, so we had to go and pick her up from a secret location, but
British station.
She wasn't. Sorry,
it was Crawley Station.
No, I feel to fake it. None of those places.
But yeah, she was beautiful. Yeah, she just had a really lovely sense about her. Like even when we picked her up, she was really kind. She just got it. She got what the event was, and it was great. How did we book her?
Yeah.
Was that the question?
I was going to say, don't dodge that question. How did you book her?
I would love to say that me and Kimberly are besties, but no, we're well, maybe after this podcast.
Well, there it is. Yeah.
Through management. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I have worked in the performing arts industry for a long, long time. So for the past 5 years now, I've been able to kind of work my networks a little bit. So Patrick Crawley from Gadio Radio, he's been a huge effort as well at getting all these acts in. So yeah, props to him, because between my content, my network and his, that's how we've booked most of them. But Kimberly specifically was through her management.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love how straightforward that sounds.
Sorry.
Like just, oh, through the management. Okay, all right, yeah.
Through her management.
We just
They
called
all have their
Guy
sets of
and
riders. Yeah.
Yeah.
Riders are, they're something else. Riders for each act.
Yeah.
So explain that concept to somebody who's naive.
So a rider is something that some acts, not all, some acts basically email with their contract and their terms and conditions. So a rider is what they expect to be in their dressing room, what they expect as their technical elements that they require on stage.
It's like only blue M&Ms, that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, we've had some interesting ones in the past. We can't name names, but they've been wild.
Okay, so without naming names, can you name the stuff then?
Yeah.
Can
we name the stuff?
Yeah. Because surely if you keep it anonymous, that's all right.
Yeah, okay, fine. What's the most wild one? Let's try and think. Not including this year?
Because if they listen to this,
yeah, maybe not including this year.
That's a very reasonable request. I would have done yellow evidence.
So we've had an array of alcohol, bottles of alcohol that want to be in their gazebos. Not just, go to the bar and get us a drink, and this is what I would like. They want specific, expensive bottles of alcohol. We've had all sorts of, like a specific salmon salad from a specific vendor. Okay. So that, it was not necessarily wild, but I think that's so specific. They didn't even eat it. I know, they didn't even eat it. We've had
somebody didn't stay in.
Who?
A hotel that somebody didn't stay in.
Don't talk to me about that hotel.
Can you talk to me about it? Sorry, what was that?
I don't really know the details of
an
it.
Artist that wanted a hotel, a specific starred hotel. So not just Lava Premier Inn, I'm not knocking them. That's where we all stay. But they didn't want a Premier Inn that was just 2 minutes up the road. They wanted I can't remember if it was 4 or 5 star. Anyway, we got it. They requested it. We booked it. They didn't even stay in it. Ooh. What else? Specific chewing gums, specific mints, specific chocolates. 5-star meal, I mean, they're not that wild, I would imagine, from what the O2 has to deal with, but
I think the other thing that with riders that I find is people don't just put I want a lamp, they'll put I want 3 lamps. 3 lamps, not just I don't understand.
There's got to be a floor lamp, there can't be one that's hung up, it has to be specific.
Cool. Well, look, guys, for my photography this year, I would like 3 light bulbs of varying colours.
You haven't sent us your rider.
Yet.
Oh, well, now that I know what one is, just got to find my pick of hotels, find my special salmon salad, all of that, and then I don't know what the purpose of it was if it wasn't to eat it. So they just left it behind?
They just left it behind,
Didn't even pick at it.
Now, having some experience in it, I think they just send a rider that they would send to Brighton Pride, or a concert or whatever. So to whatever booker, they're sending that rider. So actually, we have to provide it because it's on their rider. But we're in a field. We're a small community event. Some probably cold by the time they get to the evening in terms of temperature. They're not really... And it's going to come back to me now and kick me this year, but they're not really expecting us to provide that stuff, I don't think, but we have to because it's on their rider. So by the time they get to eat their salmon salad, they don't want it.
Food poisoning.
So if you're an act turning up for Crawley Pride this year, you best eat your salad.
Someone's going.
If you don't drink that whole bottle of alcohol.
Is there anything other like because like I remember last year there was you had lots of different vendors doing different things like face painting, and there was a few other activities going on. Anything that's kind of special this time? Anything new?
Yes. So I would like to just talk about our family area this year.
Okay, yeah.
Because we do have a special guest for our family area. So we are being joined by Ollie Pike. I suppose not a lot of people will know who Ollie Pike is, but Ollie Pike is the author and founder of a LGBT children's book company called Pop and Ollie. And I mean, he does what it says on the tin, I suppose, but he writes children's stories, or reimagines children's stories, but in an LGBT perspective.
Sure.
But it's not all of his books are just LGBT as well. Like he does all like diversity and inclusion, and the books are just really special. Because last year he sent us them to use for our drag story time. I got the ability to read them all to my daughter, who is 7, and she loved them.
Oh, wonderful.
So he's actually going to be there this year, running some of his own activities and reading his stories, but as a performance. So, he said he won't just be sitting there reading it. He'll be like acting it out and getting the kids involved and playing games with them. So
brilliant.
That's really exciting to have him coming along.
Wicked.
So,
What else have we got this year? We do have food vendors, obviously. We've got some new food vendors. It's all street food. We've got a Greek, which I am personally very excited for. I love Greek food.
I'm looking
Gyros.
forward to the steak and chips.
Yeah.
That's going to be a good one.
I'm there, mate.
Who else do we have? Steak and chips. We have
Fish and chips,
Greek,
haven't
fish and
we?
chips. Burgers, obviously.
Yeah.
Slushes. We've got ice creams.
We've got like a desserts type thing, haven't we? Like crepes and waffles. I think.
Oh yes, we have. Yeah. They're good. Last year we started a new initiative on the site called the Silent Disco. Again, it's what it says on the tin. It's a silent disco, which was proved to be really popular last year. So we've elevated that this year. That's what we like to do. We like to elevate different aspects
Where
of...
was that? I didn't see that.
Right next to the stage. It was quite hidden, actually.
I didn't hear it.
I just thought that.
Keep on, mate.
Yeah, so we've elevated that this year, and it's going to be more in the centre of the site. So that's happening.
Yeah.
We've got the trans social back, so that's happening.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that?
Yes, we've got as usual, we have our trans safe space, which is not specifically for transgender people, but anybody who just needs a quiet place to come and relax and chill. Being at a festival can be quite overwhelming, even one as small as Crawley Pride, a community as Crawley Pride. So it's just that space to come and chill, but we obviously centre it around transgender people, and as a place for them to come and get information and help and support. We've got the Claire Project working with us again this year, which is very exciting. They are an amazing group, kind of like All Sorts that we mentioned earlier,
sure.
but for adults.
Gotcha.
They're just a support network for transgender people. And All Sorts are going to be there next to them, and we've sort of created like this little square sort of area for them.
Excellent.
So
Yeah. Great.
We've got rides. We've got some couple of rides this year.
Oh,
We didn't have rides
yeah.
last year.
You had like a bouncy thing, like a bungee.
We had the bungee trampoline
yes.
things.
So
Yeah.
we've
so
got the
rides-
trampolines again this year.
We have them again. We
Yeah.
definitely do. Yeah, rides for me every year. So we have had them in the past. And again, I'm not naming names, and the ones that turn up are brilliant. But yeah, we have had years where they just haven't turned up, unfortunately.
Okay.
But that's not fault
Yeah.
to our own.
Sure.
But this year we do have. We've got a swinging boat.
Okay. Yeah.
In the Diamonds VIP area.
They've got
They've got a
rodeo.
rodeo. What do they call
Like,
it?
you know, like the buckaroo kind of things you
Oh,
hold
yes,
on
yes,
to.
yes.
So they've got one of those.
Yeah.
What was the other ride? There's a fun house that's coming. We got the trampoline bungees that are there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's lots of different stuff to get involved in.
Fantastic. It's funny you mentioned the VIP thing. I just remembered that because I had a VIP wristband on, and I just never went to the VIP area. Every time I went towards it, all I saw were people like playing beer pong. So I don't want to do that. So why do I need to be a VIP for this anyway? Yeah. So, but hey, maybe next time. Maybe next time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe your photos won't be as good this year.
Oh, just look at the composition on that ping pong ball just hitting the edge of the beer glass. Yeah.
I mean, it sounds, again, like I'll say it again, it sounds like what you've put in. And from the photos I've seen of Sam, it looks like an incredible event. It is an incredible event. I really can't recommend people attending. I can't recommend for people to attend enough because I think the whole concept is so important in every single aspect of it. If people want to attend, where can they get tickets? Where can they get informed about it? Where can people?
So tickets you can get online on our website, www.crawleylgbt.com. You can go on Facebook to get that. You can go on Instagram to get that. We also have the pod, which is our new safe space up in Tilgate. We are there on a Monday and a Tuesday. They can come and get tickets from us. We are also in the County Mall at the end of July and some dates through August.
Sure.
Again, these are going to be publicised.
Yeah.
So you can come and find us in that space in the County Mall and get your tickets there. I mean, do you know what? For this year, I just want to emphasise that we want to branch into other communities. We want to build those bridges.
Yeah.
We were part of the Unity Pledge for Crawley. Do you know anything about that?
No.
So last year, Crawley, in response to the riots that were happening, there were supposed to be riots in Crawley. It didn't quite happen. But in response to that, Crawley have now put out this pledge, which is on the town hall. And we went along and we signed it along other faith groups, other community groups, other diversity groups. And we want to reach out to them and we want to build that bridge to them because that is the only way in unity that we're going to kind of come together as one. And we've got no harm in reaching out, but we need them to take our hand because without the other half, we're not going to be able to join together. And I think that maybe some groups in return feel a little bit anxious about that from the hate that they get, but we want to support them with that. So that is probably my message for Crawley Pride, and anyone that's listening that is in a different community that may be worried, just reach out because we want you there. We don't want to segregate anybody else from coming. So
no, that's a great message. And André, like you were saying, it doesn't actually matter. Like, I mean, I'm not part of that community. I don't care. It was great. Like, and I would absolutely like. I don't care which community you're from or not from. It was entirely the whole vibe of it, the whole feeling that I had from start to finish, and it was a bloody long day even for me. But that was like, it was everything just felt easy. Everything just felt safe. Everything felt like, do you know what? No, there is no marginalisation here. We're not in that space. We're in a space actually where everything is fine.
Judgment free.
And what's wrong with that? Nothing's wrong with it. And it doesn't matter what community you're from, like I say, and like you were saying, just go along to it.
Yeah.
Because it's just a great day.
Yeah.
If nothing else, even if you're just like, I'm not too
Steak and
fussed
chips.
about the history about it or whatever,
Yeah.
it's just fun. Do it.
Do you know what I think
Yeah.
part of the issue is? I think people think...
Chips, yeah.
I think people think Pride and they go, oh no, it's far too busy. Brighton Pride, London
Yeah,
Pride.
yeah.
Like, it's not a commercial event.
Sure.
It's a community event. So if you can imagine what a community event looks like, minus the Pride, minus the LGBT, that is what it is. It just has a few rainbows.
Just a few.
It has a few rainbows.
Yeah, any pots of gold in any of those rainbows?
Unfortunately not. And if there
God
was,
damn
I
it.
wish I knew where they were. So yes, they can get tickets online on our website, or come and see us at the pod.
Great. Yeah,
And for, obviously now going a little bit deeper again, if
Tell me.
there's anyone that needs any support, that needs a helping hand, that needs someone to listen to them, where can they get that? From your perspective, from your side of the story.
It depends on what kind of support they need. I would say in the first instance, reach out to us. Email us at pride@crawleylgbt.com, and we will listen to whatever it is that you need to say and direct you onto the service that's most appropriate. Everybody's story's different, everybody's needs are different, so it's hard to say this is where you should go, other than come to us as a signposting group, and we'll help you with that.
Perfect. And I think last question from me is, where do you see this going from here? Obviously, everything is getting bigger and bigger. More acts, more things happening, more rides, more food. Where do you see it going?
World domination.
World domination.
Because remember, guys, it's not a conspiracy theory. It's all in your head.
I'm not.
Yeah, they're not really trying to.
Not really an evil genius. I feel like just pinky in the brain.
André, I think sometimes I regret doing podcasts, and it was just fine until now. We've just
Well, the
So the real answer, please.
The real answer, what, 10 years did you say?
Yeah, I mean, going forward, what if in your mind, where do you want it to be?
So we know quite imminently that we are going to be branching out into Horsham. So we definitely want that. Our brand name might or might not be changing. And if it does, then hopefully we can create... So our venue in Tilgate is called The Pod. We don't know what the new brand name is going to be yet. But if it was going to be called The Pod, then hopefully we will have a pod in different towns.
That'll be cool.
So, we've got Pride. Like I said earlier, it's our flagship event, but we do so much more. We do so much more. And actually, we can bring that access to a lot of towns. So we might have one in Horsham. We might have one in East Grinstead. Like, we would like to do that at some point. But for that to happen, we have to secure funding because it is not government funded, as you can imagine. So building our team, I think, is probably where I would like it to go. If we build our team first, we build the skill set around our team. If that expands, then hopefully we can expand into other towns.
And you touched upon the funding. What's the best way for people to help out? Where do you get the funding? Is there anything the community or people outside the community can do to help support that funding, or is it all external?
Crikey. I mean, funding is a
Minefield.
It's a huge thing, especially for a community event like ours. But so we get our funding. We've just had an incredible 3-year funding from the National Lottery, and that secured us, like I said, for 3 years. That's actually paid for certain members of the team. Okay. So now we have members of the team that are dedicated on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to be able to work. Whereas before we were all relying on our volunteer time. We all had full-time jobs, and we were just trying to squeeze it in. We have to apply like every other community group for different pots of money. If someone was watching and they wanted to donate, then when people buy tickets, they can add a donation onto their ticket. Sure. So if you were an individual and you wanted to help, that is probably the best way of doing it. But if you were an individual, just come to the events. Skye, you hosted a drag bingo.
No, just a drag brunch.
A drag brunch,
Yeah. I mean, bingo was in there.
Oh, fine.
But as one other thing, but yeah, I hosted a drag brunch as a fundraiser last year. And yeah, I mean, I was very lucky that I was in talks with someone who had a good venue for it, and we got some of our community drag queens involved, and I got a slightly bigger name drag queen from Brighton to come along. And yeah, from 3 o'clock, I think I started it, till like 9 o'clock at night. I just had like drag shows and games and music and disco, and like there was a sit down meal, and you know, we raised a huge amount of money from that for what would be considered such a small event. Like
just attend, isn't it? Right? Just attend the events that we do, because the money that you think you're paying into our pockets isn't going into our pockets, it's going into the community. And that's exactly what we do with it. It goes back in. We're a CIC, and that's the whole point of a community interest company. So come to our events, come to the fundraising. If you're an independent, if you're a company, or you are an independent with some money, feel free to sponsor.
Well, there you have it, folks. that's what the whole point of this was. Yeah, fantastic.
I think there's probably one more thing that I would like to say, and that is, it's not an exclusive, it's okay. And that is just to thank all of the volunteers and all the stakeholders and all the sponsors that are involved in Pride this year and previous, because without them, the event wouldn't happen. Yes, we do all the legwork, but without the volunteers, it wouldn't be a safe event. Without the stakeholders, without the sponsors that we have had in the past, there is no way that we would be at the stage that we are. So I personally, who kind of started this all with Julie, want to say a huge thank you to those people, because without them, Crawley Pride wouldn't be here, Crawley LGBT wouldn't be here, me and Skye wouldn't be sat on this table. So yeah, huge thank you to them. I think that's probably...
Yeah, great. I mean, and what a great message for them, and they should all take stock of that, just to see what the incredible things that have been achieved. Their hard work, their dedication, their time, their effort, everything that's gone into that, and supporting you guys supporting them back. Incredible. And like you say, you wouldn't be sat here, we wouldn't be having this conversation, we wouldn't be spreading actually the news of the further things that are coming up, of the new innovations that you've got. All of that's got to be supported with the backbone of people who are just dedicated and so passionate with what they're doing.
And they are. They absolutely love it. Yeah.
Fantastic.
I think sorry, you go. No, you go.
I was going to say, if I'm allowed to backtrack a bit and maybe get a little bit political on this, not so much, but we said earlier that Pride started as a protest, and just 5 years ago the UK sat at the top number 1 spot for LGBT rights within Europe, right? Since then, in the last 5 years, we've plummeted to, I think it's 17th place. Right, so we are backtracking at an alarming rate, and it's scary for the people, for the people in the community, and we're starting to have our rights taken away from us again. And I think, to summarise, Pride started as a protest, it became a celebration. It's moving back to a protest again. It's becoming something that we need to do as opposed to something that we want to do.
That's a lot of things to think about. I don't know what to say. That's like, it's just a staggering thought.
Again, it's just one of those things that unless you are aware of it, you just never know. And could that be, and maybe I'm just being too naive and just a complete idiot, could that be because, how am I going to phrase this? because we are at a level now where things are, and again, I might just be a complete naive, where things are a lot more accepted and things. Therefore, there isn't as much of a need to cause those riots, or is this simply because we are again going down that hole?
I think, and this is my personal view, I think it's all to do with the people that hold the power. Mm-hmm. If it comes from the top, and I'm not particularly great at being political, but they are making the changes, and we are seeing it on the ground.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're a grassroots organisation. That's exactly what happens. But we're seeing the impact of the changes in rights that even, dare I say his name, Trump across the pond is making. That is having a huge impact in the UK. So, yeah.
Scary times, difficult times, isn't it?
It is scary. It is scary. And it's not about respect. It's not about acceptance. It's just understanding that at the end of the day, we're all human. And that is, we have two legs. They have two legs. Like everyone, yeah.
It goes back to that sort of foundation phrase that I think most of us are taught as a child, which is treat other people as you expect to be treated yourself.
Yeah,
that's it.
It's pure and simple.
Just be kind.
Yeah,
that's it. I think you hit it there. I think it's we all human. We all deserve to be respected and accepted, and I think that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, and kindness costs nothing, right? That's the fundamental basic tenet of. We spoke with. I mean, thanks actually, Skye, for bringing this up, because it's this whole time we've been talking has been a bit of a journey of discovery of things, but also understanding. Vince, you were saying earlier, look, you don't have anything against any religions, etc., but I can tell you right now, with the great degree of certainty, that every philosophical, theological, religious construct will have at its core be kind.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it doesn't matter where you are and what spectrum you follow. There are basics of values that tie us all together. It sucks hearing that there's more division, there's more rights being taken away that inherently creates divisiveness, because suddenly there is a tier of who is better than who, or at least a perception of you're different. Yeah, this is different, and it's unnecessary.
And that behaviour is taught, right? I obviously was taught by my mum, who is very inclusive, very nurturing, very kind. But there are some, and I've been a teacher, I know, there are some parents out there that I don't know if they teach hate, but they definitely teach the way that they've been taught by their parents, and that inherently comes down the generation. So that is why we're getting the youngsters today being hateful and not really understanding why.
Yes, yeah.
Why do you act that way?
Just teach your children to be kind. It's not about teaching them to hate gay people or to not understand trans people or not understand the Muslim community. Just teach them to be decent human beings. Be kind. That's it. It's easy.
It's easy, and it forms so much of how our own constructs of self-esteem come into play, right? How many times do you see it or hear about it? People who have that hatred maybe in their hearts comes from places of insecurity, comes from places of feeling inadequate somehow, so therefore I just need to bring something else down to the level so I can feel better about myself. And that's a bigger thing, like societally. You talk about how parents teach kids, or the role models that are there, and the generational traumas that come down through that. But the wider society, like you say, people at the top, hey man, you've got to teach it too. You're setting the culture of your entire nations, of the entire world.
It's bully shit, isn't it? It's like school. If the bullies are inherently acting the way that they are to belittle people that they don't understand, that's going to go down the generation. But that comes from the top. So
And just be aware of where you're getting your news from and your media. Not on a conspiracy level. Oh God, here we go. No, but
make sure you only get it from us.
but more of a case of just, understand that, every news outlet has their own angle. So listen to multiple ones, look at multiple ones, and see what everybody's saying. Form your own opinion.
Yes, have informed hatred. Don't just do it for the sake of it. Oh gosh. So is that the message we end on, guys? Is it the kindness? Is that the overarching thing, or is there a bigger thing here? Is there something else that we ought to be giving as a final word?
I don't know. What do you think?
I think the kindness is good.
I think it's.
I think it's a great one.
I think it's just great, and this is one of the reasons why I love doing this with Sam is that we talk with so many people, but it comes down to the same thing, which is meeting the humans that are behind the causes, the businesses, the events, everything. And I think it's such a privilege to have you both on today and telling us about what you've been doing and how hard and how much work you've been putting into it. So thank you for doing that, because I think
André. Absolutely.
Can I turn it around and ask you, what would your advice be to either people in the community that are struggling or people not in the community who don't understand? What would your advice be?
I'd say, if you're going to hate on Vince, get to know him first, then hate on him. I know you, now I feel I can punch you in the face. Right? I feel like if I didn't, that would have been...
taking a turn.
Can you do my arm instead?
You paid for that.
André, maybe you go first while I think of mine. I can need to give mine a bit more thought.
I think it's and again, going deeper again, I think there's a lot of work that still needs to be done. It comes down to education. It comes down to parents just being able to be kind and open with their children, accepting their children as they are, because it will then form more confident children if they are, LGBT, queer, gay, lesbian, whatever, or just straight. If they grow up in an environment that just is about kindness and respect and acceptance, that will then provide that generation with that base level where things can be built upon. I think at the moment it's really hard because everything's all over the place, and I feel like we can't really provide that baseline. And I think we need to start building that so that we can really help those children mature to be a kind generation, an acceptive generation. Is that right?
Yeah, accepting
a generation of acceptance.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because the serious point I'd make would be, like, it comes actually off what we were saying, André, earlier about why we do these podcasts. And every time that we do it, something like quite magical happens, where things come quite full circle, where every bit of our conversations have just been an authentic layer of showing your own resolve and what journeys have meant to you. Sometimes they've been trivial, sometimes they've been really deep and meaningful. But, statements like this, the things that you guys are saying in terms of why you do it, how you brought people together, drawing that community in, it's the strength of resolve, it's the strength of self-belief. It's knowing that, hey, you've got a passion, you've got a vision of where you want to take this. And for people who are struggling with something, not understanding where they are, knowing that there's leaders out there are people who have been through a journey that may be similar, like you say, Skye, everyone's is different, but that is so powerful, because I'm sure there's so many people who just still don't know that, who still just feel alone and isolated, and particularly with things we were just talking about with the political climates and how things are becoming more divisive in some respects. We are just feeling a lot more alone, each and every one of us, to some degree. And if you're in that community and you're struggling with something, there's no need, because there are people here who really, really care about you. And that has come across in spades from talking to you both today. And again, that's why we love doing this, because it just, like, there's no pretense here. You guys are talking from where it's coming, like, it's coming from your gut, right? And that's I love that. Absolutely love that.
Oh, that's nice.
I'll take that.
I'll take
Put that in a Google review for me. Yeah, good. He was nice.
Yeah, that's nice.
Dick. Yes.
We're here to be the face, and we're here to be the voice for those that can't do it themselves. Yeah.
Brilliant.
And remember,
I wish we existed when I was a kid, and I didn't even really have that bad of a grow up. But maybe if Crawley LGBT existed when I was in school, maybe I would have been able to be the truer self of me earlier.
Yeah.
Which was ultimately your message of like,
Yeah,
actually,
that's it.
you know, when you know who you are, you know who you are, and nothing takes away from that.
Yeah.
But how do you get to there? in the
I
first place?
know we're coming to the end of this now, but I've got family who are also in the LGBT community who came out way later than I did, and I feel sad for them because they weren't able to live their true selves until a lot later, and now look at me who came out earlier than them but still quite late in the long scheme of things. Who look at me with kind of resentment eyes a little bit because I'm able to have a husband and a baby. And I mean, there is some judgment that we did get along the way, but that was accepted. Everyone's loving that for me. And I love that. But yeah, so I think
like, why should you not have the joy in your life that you...
That's it. Why do you need to
Absolutely.
wait until a certain level to feel that confidence to be able to come out and be
I'm
your
quite
true
a stubborn
self?
person, so if someone says to me I can't do something, I will go and do
I
it.
will get completely wild. I will honour those riders. No,
Yeah, so maybe that's why I had a baby.
Guys, a bottle of champagne is at the back.
we got your Maltesers. Fantastic, guys. Excellent.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks
Thanks
so much.
really,
Thanks.
seriously, thank you for coming on.
Wicked.
Yeah.
And we'll see you at Crawley Pride.
Which is today, tomorrow, yesterday. It's everywhere.
Is it now being called Horsham Pride officially?
It's called the Pride Night.
Late.
The Pride Late, yeah.
The Friday late.
Yeah.
But Pride themed.
Yes.
I think it should just be called Horsham Pride.
I think people
Come
are calling
on.
it that. Like, people
Yeah.
colloquially are calling it that.
Yeah, they didn't want it.
Come on,
Horsham
Sam.
didn't.
You can
Come on, Sam.
yeah, go on. You can sort that out.
We'll get on the mic
Yeah,
tomorrow.
I won't take photos unless you... I feel like that threat won't work.
They wanted a festival, did you know that?
Sorry?
They wanted it to be a festival.
Yeah. But we
should we
said we
just-
don't have the capacity.
We don't have the capacity. Yeah, maybe one day.
Yeah.
There we go.
We might be having this conversation next year. We'll be like, yep, we've done it.
Fenced in
Yeah.
and ticketed.
Yep.
Kimberly White will be there.
Not for free registration.
No, Horsham Station this time.
Private helicopter. Just
Ocean Park. Great stuff, guys. Nice. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
no problem.
Wicked.